We are live. Thank you so much, Women in Tech, for the opportunity. I'm honored and thrilled to be here. I'm Lisiane Lemos. I'm from Brazil, talking about the southern Brazil. The city of Pelotas is in the state of Rio Grande do Sul. If you know, it's near Uruguay and Argentina. I'm taking my chimarrão. So when I was thinking, what could I share with you about my experience? I'm not that old. I'm only 31. Being a woman in tech, I was thinking which kind of advice I could share with you or my old self when I was 23 and I joined this industry. It's kind of strange because I'm a lawyer and people do not think about lawyers working in sales and working in tech and like working in digital marketing. It sounds a little bit confused, but I will explain to you how I made all this journey and also share what I think and how can you be a better woman in tech? How can you be a better professional in tech? How can you be a person that have impact on your system, on your like city, on everything that you work? So when I was thinking about that, I talk about 5 advice because I do not have like so much time to share with you. You have my contacts, my social media, but it's important to introduce myself. I told you that I'm Lisiane, but it's important to share that I'm the daughter of Rosemar and Claudinei. I'm the sister of Renan and happily married with Max. And this is the most important thing about me. I'm a huge fan of Serena Williams and a singer called Belo that is from Brazil. I'm a soccer fan and I'm trying to be a sports person during the pandemic. This is the most important thing because people, when they introduce themselves, they talk about where they work, what is important. For me, it's my family is my first value and all the things are happening to make my family happy. So starting on that, first advice. I received this, I first listened to that from my mentor, that is director for Microsoft Worldwide Services. My first mentor was the first Black professional that I met during my life. He was a tough guy. I can introduce you to him. And he always said, always be prepared. And what I want to say to you, talking about always be prepared, Ailina, the ABC. If the person that have the position, the role that you ever dream of call you now and start an interview, are you prepared? Are you resume prepared? Are you LinkedIn prepared? Is your Instagram prepared? So you never know when this opportunity will come to you. Let me share a story with you. You probably stalked me at this time. If you know that social media is important to me, but I've been named in 2017 as Forbes Under 30. And let me share how this started. I have a mentor. She's tough also. I like tough person. And she called me. I was like in a customer selling something because I'm a salesperson. And she called me and like, oh, I'm an advisor for Forbes Brazil. And after a talk that we had, I realized that you always like endorse people that are involved with music, with sports or something like this. And you told me that we need to change and work with business person. And then she said like, I want to endorse your application to be a Forbes Under 30 in Brazil. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not prepared for that. I was scared. I was shocked. I thought like, why me? I'm only an inside sales at Microsoft. I do my volunteering work and we'll talk about that after. And why are you doing this? Because she thought that the impact that I would have and the representation that I would bring to the magazine, to the list will be important. So then she said, can you send me your bio and your resume then I will share it with the magazine? And I wasn't prepared. I did not have that. And since this time, I realized that you always have to have your resume, your quick bio, everything right and correct to send to achieve your goals, to achieve your dreams. You cannot like wait the right moment and when things are perfect and your website, your line, when everything is right, because you never know when your phone will ring. And this also happened when I joined my first board, my first corporate board. And this happened when Microsoft called me, and this happened when Google called me, and this always happens. So let me share something with you. I've been an interviewer for these tech companies. The questions are always the same. And this is a funny thing. They always ask you about, tell me about an episode that you did, blah, 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 blah. Tell me about something that you achieved and blah, blah, blah. The questions are always the same. So you can be prepared to answer them and to have your cases and to talk about your story. So when you talk about some difficulties, I can talk about how I changed my career. I can talk about when I lived in Mozambique and have a huge cultural shock. When you talk about numbers, I can talk about the industries that I attended, that I worked with. I can talk about my colleagues. I can talk about you don't have to be a leader to lead something. And one thing that I share with my students, because I'm an MBA professor also, it's a story without numbers and impact is not a story. So if you say, I work for Microsoft for what? How many customers? What's the size of the revenue that you were dealing with? Which partners have you worked? So you have to have numbers, percentages, numbers, something to then the person have like understand the size of the impact that you have. So always be prepared for answer the same questions because they always be the same. So first advice here, update your LinkedIn, update your resume, have a quick bio that if your dream happen now, if the phone rings from the company that you want, you are prepared. Let's come to the second one. This is something that I learned after working 8 years with tech. And let me explain the confusion that I shared with you, how I became from that when I graduated from law and came to tech. So I came from a family of teachers. My mom is a professor in the university, and she's also an architect and work with chemistry. You know, we're not linear at all. But I never thought about being a lawyer or an architect. I want to be a psychiatrist. And we'll talk about mental health. But I did not have money. And even in Brazil, you have a lot of public schools, so you don't have to pay your college if you pass in these ones, and they are very good, but did not have the psychology course that I wanted, the psychology college that I wanted to do. So I applied to law school, and here is different from the US. You do 6 years of law school, so you apply directly. You don't have to do for a minor, you go straight to that. So I applied to law school, and during law school, I discovered that I could work with human rights. And why did I apply to that? Because racism has a huge part of who I am, unfortunately or happily, because it's part of the impact that I have in the world. So when I joined that, I realized like, I want to be a professor. I want to be the first Black professor of this college. But by the end, and we'll talk about volunteering and how it changed my career, I discovered the private sector and changed everything and came home and like, Mom, I do not want to be a lawyer anymore. I want to work with sales. What? So I never wanted to work with tech. I never wanted to do law school. I wanted to be a salesperson. But I lived in Mozambique. And then when I came back to Brazil, I invested on achieving my network and saying to them, I want to work in Sao Paulo, that is our business center. I want to work with sales and I want to work in a multinational. And this is how I entered Microsoft, because I always know a person that knows a person that knows a person. And we'll talk about networking. And they introduced me to tech companies. And I started as inside sales. So it's like not an intern, but not something from Microsoft, and stayed there for 6 years and were amazing. So when I joined the company, I first developed this quote, like, if all companies will be tech companies, all professionals will be tech professionals. When I joined the tech industry, people they think that tech companies are IBM, Oracle, Microsoft, and all this stuff. But I think we are in a digital transformation, and all companies will be data-driven companies or tech companies. And even all professionals will be data and tech professionals. And before you get afraid and oh my God, I do not understand how to programming. Me too. I only learned how to do programming to learn that I hate it. I like the sales part and the tech relationship part. But it was important to study and even go there to understand that I don't like. So I went to do my first MBA in Brazil. Everything is different in IT management, and was amazing. Was amazing because I learned that I could be a bridge between business and tech. And also, when you think about my career and all the changes, I see myself as a person that can drive digital transformation in all these companies. So I recommend always in my keynotes, I recommend books. People know that I hate series, I hate movies. I'm not that person. I'm a book person. So this book is one that I love, that it's called The Technology Fallacy, that talks that people are the real key to digital transformation. It's not like software is not hardware, it's people. So if you feel that you are prepared to be this tech professional, this person to drive digital transformation, you are the right person. So then I did I'm trying to finish my MBA in business management. Then I'm trying to do some advanced program in board for being a better board member. And all of this is to drive innovation and digital transformation through all the companies. So working with the biggest tech companies, I realized that all companies will be tech. And there's a place for everybody. So instead of being afraid of robots and AI and all this stuff, be the person that leads that. Be the person that can translate that. Be the person that are the bridge from the business to tech. So there is space for anybody. Bring your space. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Listen to me. I work for these companies. I still work for them. And there's space for everybody. And it's amazing to lead digital transformation in any industry. When you see the paper going out and robots going in and the systems working, it's amazing. Be the person that leads that. I want to be that person. Third advice. This is something that I learned better through the pandemic. When I started, I moved to São Paulo from the southern Brazil to work at Microsoft, and it was a huge change. Imagine, I left my house with 23 after grad school. Then I moved to Mozambique. I've never lived abroad. And I was going to Africa to work with people that I've never seen, that I met through Skype. Today I think in a different way. When I came back, I stayed 3 weeks in my mom's house. And then I moved to São Paulo 3 weeks after to live alone. So I have to build my house, to meet my colleagues, to learn, to begin a new job. I was one of the first Black professionals in the company. I was one of the first women from the southern Brazil. Everything was different. And first thing that I started when I moved to São Paulo was to start therapy. Yes. And when I start therapy was to talk bad about myself, because I have a self-esteem that is terrible. And this is part of the role that racism have in my life, thinking that I'm not enough, that I have to prove myself, always having a chip on my shoulder. My mentor said that. And therapy helped me to be a better professional. Therapy helped me to understand how impactful I was. Therapy helped me to understand the role and the system that my family had. Just you to understand, Black people are free in Brazil for less than 200 years. So we have more time being enslaved than free. And these have an impact in our life and the way that we think. Not that I think, oh, poor Lisiane. No, it's that I have to fight more, to achieve more, to have my role. Talking about the corporate environment, only last year we have the first Black board members in listed companies in Brazil, open listed companies. We have a population that is more than 50% of African Brazilians, but we have less than 1% in C-level in the corporate environment and less than 5% in the corporate environment. So you don't see yourself in this environment, and being there, it's nearly aggressive. Now we're online and you can see the screens and we meet each other, and the volunteering helped me. But at the beginning, like, guys, I'm a lawyer. What I'm doing here? I have all the imposter syndrome. I was afraid of everybody. I was a little bit tough because I'm from Southern Brazil and we are like this. And so therapy helped me, and also helped me when I have my first burnout. Yes, I do not have had only one. So at 20, I joined the tech environment. At 23, I had my burnout. At 24 and a half, 25. One day I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna die. And then my husband, that was my fiance, I like, Max, go to work. And then I went to the hospital and I told the nurse, like, I'm gonna die. I think that I'm gonna die. So I was thinking that I was having a heart attack. I stayed 4 days in the hospital, and people only realized that I was dead when they called me to understand why I didn't join a meeting. So since there, I understand that everything is balanced. I need to have my sports. I'm a sports person because, I have a lot of energy. I need to have my therapy weekly, and now during the pandemic, bi-weekly. And now I have some medicines. And why I'm here, I do not have a book, but this last weekend, I spent like watching the new special of Apple TV that is called Now You Can, The Me That You Can See, that Oprah and Prince Harry talk about mental health. And it was very important to understand all the changes that we have during pandemic. Now we used to go to the office, we have a huge environment, good food and all that stuff. And now we are at like living and working at the same place. So it's important to understand all the changes and how these impact your work and how these make you become a better person, a better professional. So just to share with you my experience, I changed of house, I changed my city, I changed of work, I changed of role, I changed a lot of things. So doing therapy, taking some medicine if necessary, and understanding that I'm not a superwoman, it's important. So if you understand that I'm not talking about the technical part, but the soft skills that are more important and strategic for you in this tech role, because technical things and certifications, you can learn, you can train and do the job and do the assessment. But this that I'm sharing with you, I wish somebody could tell me before. My fourth advice, and this is so important, how volunteering changed my whole career. If I'm talking with you today, it's because of volunteering. Because through volunteering, I discovered that I wanted to be a salesperson. Through volunteering, I discovered that I could be an influencer to the women community, to the Black community in my country. Through volunteering, I discovered new roles that tech could lead in my life. And through volunteering, I share my tech knowledge with people. So these are some pictures. I want to begin about when I joined AIESEC, that is an international organization that helped me on learning that I want to be a salesperson. Then when I moved to São Paulo, I co-founded the first Black professionals network in the corporate environment in Brazil. And it was through tech that we are today 12,000 members. I'm not with them anymore because I moved on. And then I joined Grupo Mulheres do Brasil, that is the biggest association of women in Brazil. Women, please join. It's amazing. And we have outside of Brazil for Brazilian women. Always, helping Black women to achieve their dreams. I do think that diversity is bringing diverse people to do what they know. I'm a tech person. I'm not an HR. I don't know how to recruit people. I know how like to operate in data centers and marketing campaigns and all this stuff. And during the pandemic, I co-created with 8 amazing women an initiative to like highlight Black women in the as board members in this country, because we did not have it at all. So through volunteering, I could achieve and learn how to lead people when I wasn't prepared in the corporate environment. And people are more open when you are volunteering to help you, to give you feedback, and to build it with you. So I'm really proud of how I co-created things, co-founded things, and the amazing people that I met through volunteering. And I huge advise you to be involved in some volunteering opportunities and use that to like develop your skills, because it was there that I was leading like 1,000 people before I was before 23, like 8,000 people before 30, and the recognitions, the top voices, the Forbes Under 30 was only a recognition of the impact. But I'm truly passionate, and being here is part of the volunteering work, and I want to recognize all the women that are building Women in Tech in this summit, because volunteering, like, it's a lot of job. It's a lot of job at all. But it changed my life. It truly changed, and will be changing, because I'm always creating something for life, and changing. And also doing my job, because I work like sales, it's kind of difficult. Finishing. This is part, I'm a huge fan, please take notes, of a person that is called Carla Harris. Carla Harris, let me talk in English, like almost talking in Portuguese. Carla Harris is a singer. It's vice president and chairwoman of Morgan Stanley, and she's amazing. She's amazing. And she has a book that is called Expect to Win, that she talk about sponsorship, coaching, and mentorship. I have a lot of mentors, and I don't have problem at all. You always have to think about who will talk about you when you're not in the room, and what they will talk. So when the calibration, when the development, when the promotion are happening, you're not in the room. So who will talk about you? Which material have you shared with this person to have your numbers, your achievements, your colleagues, your feedback organized in order to say, Lisiane did that, and that, and that, and that, and that. So if you do not have a mentor, find as soon as possible. If you do not know who is your sponsor in your organization, girl, you're wrong. And if you don't have any kind of career coaching, find it all. When I learned that the company that the only responsible for my career, it's myself, and that it's part of my investment, like hiring somebody to help me, because neither my manager is prepared, neither I was in that time, things have changed. And then I could do the choices. So if you not have a career plan, it's okay. I do not have now because of the pandemic, but find someone to help you. Invest money and have money to invest in your career, even if it's learning, if it's a career plan, if it's a coaching plan, because the company do not have the duty to help you. Sad but true. They want is volunteering, it's nice, they have some tools, but the responsibility is only yours. So organize yourself to have a mentor. And like most of my mentors are men. Why, Lisiane? Because they are the majority of the corporate environment. And if I want to learn how to go to the top, I have to learn from them. But also I have women, I have Black women that are older than me and my sponsors. You have to have diversity overall. And what I see also is have mentors that have the skills that you don't have or that you want to develop. This is why my mentors, they are tough, because I'm not a tough person. I'm always afraid of what people are thinking about me. So find people that are better than you. Find people that are more experienced than you. Be open, listen. And if you like are angry, if they give you a feedback that you don't like, it's like, breathe, understand, like I will sleep with the decision and then come back. So I have a lot of the advices that I could share with you. I wish I could have more time to share about my experience and all that I've learned in the past 8 years and all that I've learned through the pandemic. I'm coming back today also because I was having a rest time to understand what I'm going to do after that and all these changes, but I could not be part of this summit, this incredible work that we are building together. And to finish that, Angela Davis was a militant, an American militant, that it's important. I have some positions that I do not agree, but it was important to build who I am. And I want to finish with a quote from her that it's like, I'm no longer accepting the things that I cannot change. I am changing the things that I cannot accept. So if you see a tech environment that you cannot change, that you feel like people do not see me, people do not talk with me, people do not sponsor me, people do not share this stuff, build the environment that you want to be a part of. Change if you are afraid, if you don't like the space that you are. Sometimes you cannot change, and be with people that want to build the world that you want to be. So thank you so much for your time. Now in Portuguese, obrigada. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope I could share some experience with you, being a good advisor and being a new friend. So follow me on the social media, give me feedback. Feedback is always a gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all the team and congratulations for this incredible event.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here again, 24-hour tour of Women in Tech. I'm Lindália Junqueira, ambassador of Women in Tech in Brazil. And I have a special woman that I'm going to interview now. You're going to see. She is Anna Hoffman. So, Anna, how are you?
Fine, dear. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, she's the best, She's the Digital Transformation Partnership Lead at Microsoft, more than 20 years in technology. So she has lots to share with us. Can I ask you the first question? Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invitation, Lindália. It's a real pleasure to participate in this meeting.
Thank you. Anna, consider that you have more than 20 years working at the technology market. Which would you remark as your biggest challenge as a woman?
I think maternity was the biggest challenge in two ways. First one, when I decided to have kids, I was 31. I was working as sales executive at Oracle. At that point in Brazil, there was no any kind of different treatment for the maternity leave. It was 4 months just for women, and it was considered by anyone, by any man inside the companies as a moment where they would lose one employee for 4 months, and then it will took us 3-4 months to really get back with our minds, our souls, to our job. So it was really tough to me to tell them I would like to have kids, and I told them before having the kids. And competing for quota retirement only with men at that time, being 4 months out of the job. Remember that the cell phones were just starting, so it was not the way we have this possibility to be a little bit more related to what was happening. It was really tough to me to get back, because at that moment, I thought it was clear to me that they would prefer to me not be back anymore, considering I would face the challenge to deal with the kids. But I faced that, and I decided to tell them I would not be working at there anymore. And it was a tough decision at that moment, because I was in a very good position with very good salary. And I said to myself, if I am in a place that are not happy with me, that's because they don't value my work as they should. So I don't want to be here anymore. I asked to leave, and it was a surprise to them, because I was there for some quite time. So I left some money at the table. It was the best decision to me and to my kids. I kept working from home. 3 months after that, I was invited to join a startup group indicated by Endeavor here in Brazil. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, because it was 45 minutes from my home. I was with my baby working at the company, and it was a completely different view. So I think we have to understand as women that we have to define which are the priorities to us, and have the courage to face it and to find a place that really understands that moment and give us the real support to it. Today, nowadays, we have much more space to it. And the second challenge also related to the maternity was when my kids were grown up and started to compare me with other mothers. It was a really tough moment for me. I decided to stay at home for 2 days a week with them, but I was traveling 3 days a week. And my daughter was the one that really pushed me the most. And she was 14 at the time, and I asked her, I would like to do a simulation to discuss about an hypothesis with you. It had a father that would get to their company, to his company, to his direct report, and says, I want to work at home 2 days a week because I want to stay with my kids. And get this opportunity, get this respect from his company to stay with you for 2 days and earn a very good salary and share all the expenses with your mother. And in fact, earns more than your mother, but still keep doing it. Keep working from home 2 days a week. Which kind of father would you consider him? And she said, a very good father. So it's me. I am this father. I am the one that is being here for 2 days a week, talking to my direct reports, to my company, that I want to stay with you for 2 days a week. Why I'm considered such a bad mother? And he would be considered such a good father. Which is the difference. And she understood, completely understood. And she asked for excuse And she completely changed her way of dealing with my 3 days out of home. And it was quite some time ago, but maybe 4 months ago, I was talking to a group, and one woman asked me, how do you feel about traveling so much? And how do you deal with your family, with your kids, considering this? And I asked her, do you imagine it? Do you imagine someone making the same question to a man? And she said, not at all. And I said, why are you doing this question to me? I deal with it the same way any man in the world for all this time has dealt with it without guilty, knowing that they are doing what they have to do. They have to work to keep their families. They have to work to be proud of themselves. They have to work to be better as human beings. So I'm doing the same. Why do I have some problem with my family or to deal with them? So I think the maternity, the fact that we were prepared to be at home, and not only now, but when we were in caves, is something that is still too much heavy to us. We have to deal with it not the same way. We have to think about it as something that is normal to anyone. And we have to be courageous to say, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel pain. I'm fine. I'm happy to be out of home 3 days a week. I'm bringing news every week. I'm better every week.
Yeah, your kids have to be proud of you. Lots of women suffer the same, has to deal with this. Lots of women decide not to have kids just because she had to make a choice, work or family. And nowadays, it's something that really hurts, that could keep in this mindset. These 4 months of maternity licensing should be a benefit, nor a pain. And maybe the men can have the same license, so they can.
That's the point. To be fair, this would be split by men and women. 2 months for each, 4 months for each, as it is in some countries nowadays.
Yeah, I'm almost crying because I suffer the same thing as you, and I'm very proud of you. I know that you have a hard career, and you were the best in what you do. So don't be regret. I think that your kids now is proud of all your decisions. And how do you consider we should respond to this kind of situation? And what do you believe we could do as women to change it?
I think we have a little bit just said about how we should respond to it, but I think we should consider a little bit more and be more, how can I say, be more exigent, be more, look more at ourselves as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, as wives, at home. I also passed through an interesting situation with my daughter and my son. They were watching television, and she was with her legs open. And I said, could you please sit as a girl? And she said, why as a girl? I can sit a little bit more as a polite person, but not as a girl. And I said, yes, you're right. And it took my attention a lot to how I was grown up, how these messages were presented to me, were put in my house. And sometimes I see women going to companies and telling them that they want a more respectful place to work. They want to be heard. They want to have the same treatment, salaries. But when they get home, they allow their fathers, their husbands, their brothers to treat her completely different than she is asking to be treated at work. And she's giving this permission to her brother, to her father, to her son, to be exactly like this at their work, at their companies. So I think we should think a little bit more about how we allow men to treat us at home and how we are dealing with our sons, our daughters, how we are really showing them at home that we will not allow it anymore. That we want to be heard, that we want to share the responsibilities at home, that we are not going to be proud of having 2 journeys, 3 journeys a day, with the work, with house, with the kids. No, not at all. I'm not proud of it. I'm not multitask. Everyone can be multitasking, can do multitasking. So let's go, everybody at home be multitasking.
Let's share all the responsibilities and begin the change inside our family. That's right.
But there are questions, there are points much more difficult than only sharing the dishes to be washed. When my daughter arrived at home and said, I kissed 3 boys this night, I said, oh my God. What
am I gonna do?
I didn't talk to her the way I should. My God, what will happen to her future? And then she asked,
the boys had the permission to do it, and now the girls can do the same.
And then she asked me, would you react like this if it was my son telling the same thing? And I said, no, I probably would tell him that it would not be the way I would have done it in my time and when I was that age.
Tradition.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have react the same way. And I was not grown up with this position, but it's tough to really give our daughters the same freedom to do what they want, to have sex with anyone they want, with how much boys they want, how many boys they want, because I don't ask a guy with how many girls they have sex before marrying me or dating.
You have the courage to talk about so things that is very true in any way for any family. So why do you believe we have this huge gap of gender diversity at the technology market? And what about you say to women thinking about working at it?
I think that the gap, the woman gap, the gender gap at the technology market is a matter of our history with maths, our history with logistics, and it's not a challenge anymore.
Do you think so?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so, and I will tell you why. Because the time has changed a lot. And nowadays, you have a huge gap of professionals at the technology market. It doesn't matter which gender, but professionals at the technology market. And we keep saying that to work at the technology market, you need to be good at math. And I don't see a lot of need for this very specific knowledge anymore. Nowadays, with the tools that we build to program, to develop solutions, to create new business models, to create companies, and to transform the way business has been done. You don't need to be a brilliant mathematical.
Yeah, you don't need to be a genius in math or physics or engineering.
I don't know how to say that, or engineering. So I think that we have to work in demystifying this position. And it will allow much more women to think about working with technology. And we see a lot of women getting wonderful positions and being very successful working with technology nowadays, because they can use some of the skills they have that are much more needed than math or logistics nowadays, as the capability, the ability to listen, to systematize problems, to diversify the solutions of the problems, to broaden the spectrum of the possible solutions to be applied to a specific problem. So I believe we have the gap. The gap is historical, but to deal with it, we have much more done getting women to the technology schools, to the technology universities and courses, to demystifying that you need this background to work at the technology market.
Yeah, and lots of women like you is in a position of leadership, like the president of IBM in Brazil is a woman, the president of Microsoft is a woman, so and they are aspiring, and you and these women are aspiring other girls and women to take the courage to get in this area, to study more, to learn more about technology. And Microsoft is an example. I remember when Paula Believe is the president of Microsoft, she decided to hire 50% of all the employees should be women.
Yeah, and important to highlight, the actual CEO at Microsoft and the past CEO at Microsoft, both women, none of them with technology background.
Wow.
Yeah. They have worked at the technology market, but they are not...
They're not programming or developing.
Bachelor or in technology or had been a history in the technology teams. So it's important. My message here is you can work as a programmer without having a bachelor in technology, as a system, as a business analyst. You can work as a program manager. You can work as a manager, a team manager. You can work in many positions inside a technology company or a technology area in traditional companies without having a background in technology. It can open minds, it can open ways to many women thinking about it and having all the capabilities to get this huge opportunity that the technology market is offering with this huge gap of professionals.
Great, great. As I said, there's no barriers to anyone to work with technology anymore. So how do you feel that governments and companies are working to really democratize the access to technology, to open all the access to technology? Which you do believe are the biggest blockers?
I believe that governments and companies are becoming aware of the importance of democratizing the technology, democratizing the access to the technology, to the new tools. But at the same time, we are facing the blockers. So I was talking about the importance to democratize and what governments and companies are doing about that, and they are aware of the importance of the democratization of these technologies. They are offering access to all their employees to these tools, and also using these tools to offer access to services, government services, to the citizens. But in my view, and it's a little bit polemic, but I would say that the first blocker is the technology people itself. The way we were created, the way we grown up, the way we were educated, the way we were used to work in our internal IT teams is based in offering developed tools with a lot of control to our users. And it's normal because the investment needed to develop and to run, to operate this kind of solutions in the past were huge. Any kind of problem or mistake or disalignment on return on investment analysis would be really a problem to any company. Nowadays, it has changed. The cost...
It had to change with the pandemic.
Yeah, but even before the pandemic, with the cloud event,
With the cloud service.
with the cloud event, the offer of a huge amount of processing for almost no cost, the possibility to have access to this amount of this power of processing everywhere allowed us as users and
So do you believe that it's possible this digital transformation process is for everyone, for all?
Yeah, that's why. Because it allows us, and it allows the IT teams to fail fast, to develop solutions that can be used for months and be changed, be increased, be improved. And the IT teams, they are not prepared to it at this moment. They are trying to understand. They are trying to understand that the governance model has to change. So to democratize access to technology and to these tools, you have to empower your employee, your end user, to develop the solutions themselves. I used to compare it with Excel. Any company in the world uses Excel. Any trainee, any manager, any end user can develop their Excel spreadsheets themselves, and they use it for some time, for 1 month, for 3 months, for weeks. And if they don't want to use it anymore, they just delete it. They just don't use it. And sometimes they don't delete it because the space it's using is nothing. And they don't talk to the IT team to do it because the data is there with all the security issues.
They used to do in this way, so it's difficult to change to other ways.
And what
Anna Hoffman, unfortunately, have to end.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Lots of things to share with the people, but I'm very proud. I'm very glad that to accept our invitation because you really. You really share with us the truth of the dilemma of maternity, of to creating kids and being a technology leader, and to transform other companies, the mindset of the employees. In Brazil, we have only 20% of the women in technology companies, so we have lots to do together. But what is the last message that you want to share with us?
I think the message is that technology nowadays is really something for everybody, for all. And why it's for all? Because you don't have to have this technology background anymore. And you can apply it to any kind of business. And you can apply it yourself to any kind of business and to create your own business.
Yeah.
So that's the message. Think about it, try to understand it, and don't blame others about being capable of using or having access to technology. It's about you. It's about you understanding what you can do every day, how you can use it every day in your personal and professional.
Yes. Don't let people down. Don't let people say what you can and what you cannot do. You can do anything. Thank you, Anna Hoffman. Thank you, Ayumi, and all the women global in tech here.